that we are doing here today. We are going to be signing an agreement with Western Governors University and our community colleges, but what this will do between in the state of Nebraska to have Western Governors University, WGU, be a private nonprofit organization of higher education here in the state of Nebraska, which will have all sorts of benefits. So helping us talk about this today, we've got Scott Pulsifer, who is the president of WGU. We're also being joined by one of WGU's students, Amanda Redler, and she is right now teaching in St. Ed's, and she lives in Albion. You're teaching 6th grade, right?
Yes.
All right, and you're finishing up your BA in education. We're also going to be joined by one of our teammates in the state of Nebraska, Brenda Soto, who is just got her MS from WGU in health leadership, and she is actually currently working in our Department of Health and Human Services, doing the Director of Emergency Response Services. So thank you for your work for the state there. And then, of course, we've got Dr. Paul Illich, who is the president here at Southeast Community College. We're also going to be joined by other folks. I know we've got Matt Gottschall, because I just saw him. Where'd you go, Matt? Matt's over there. He's the president of Central Community College. We've got Michelle Gill, who's the vice president of Educational Services at Northeast Community College, right? All right. Jeff Koski, who is an instructional director at Western Community College. And by the way, within the state of Nebraska, you get the award for coming the farthest. So great job. And then we also are joined by the executive director of the Nebraska Commission on Coordination. Okay. Come on, Michael, help me out. Coordinating Commission for Secondary Education. Thank you. Dr. Michael Baumgartner. So we got a number of great folks here to talk about what we're going to do. Now, one of the things that we have done here in Nebraska is to work on a talent pipeline, starting in 7th and 8th grade and taking young people through that post-secondary education. We've done it with our Developing Youth Talent Initiative, the grants that go to private institutions or private companies and our schools, our K-12 schools, to be able to create those programs in 7th and 8th grade. Our high schools do it with their career academies that allow for that dual credit. Then we have registered apprenticeship programs and youth registered apprenticeship programs that are a learn while you earn model. We've got a lot of schools that participate in that, like, for example, Grand Island, working with Case IH. We've got the ICAP program in Omaha with our German companies, again, an apprenticeship program. And then we've got our career scholarship program for our 2-year and 4-year degree programs that we passed with the legislature that will help over 2,100 Nebraskans be able to make that higher education more affordable, again, in these high-demand fields we're typically looking for. And so we've got a great pipeline there. But one of the things that we need to add is to those adult learners, the non-traditional learners. And that's where Western Governors Union comes in place. Now, Nebraska was actually a leader in helping establish WGU back in 1996. In fact, in Omaha on June 24th, 1996, 10 states got together to pledge their support to the WGU. One of those states was Nebraska. Not surprising, it was here in Omaha, and it was then Governor Ben Nelson who signed that agreement. And the whole idea was to create an experience for adult learners so that they could continue their education and get the skills they need. Now, at the time, back in 1996, this was pretty visionary because it was going to be an online experience. And you may recall that 1996, the internet was still a relatively new thing. In fact, 1996 was the first year that email traffic actually overtook snail mail traffic. And Outlook, that thing that we depend upon so much to send emails, didn't even exist in 1996. So this was really a visionary project back then, and shortly after those 10 governors signed that agreement, 9 other states signed on as well. And this is where it gave those opportunities for those adult learners to be able to advance their education. And that's very important. The traditional, or here in Nebraska at least, the average age of somebody who's at WGU is 34 years old, and 85% of them are working. And so giving adult learners that flexibility to be able to tailor their schedules to an online environment is critical. One of the other things that's really critical about WGU is that it's competency-based learning. Recognizing that adult learners, again, if your average age is 34, have experience. They know things. And so Reflecting that in WGU's philosophy is that competency-based learning, so that if you can test out of something, you don't have to take that class. And that allows those students then to be able to progress more quickly and save money at the same time. So it's a great experience recognizing the unique needs of adult learners and non-traditional learners. And so that's why it's so important to kind of round out what we're doing with regard to education here in the state of Nebraska. Now, we know this is important because 71% of jobs require some sort of post-secondary education. Here in Nebraska, only about 58% of adults aged 24 to 35 have that post-secondary education. And in fact, we want to get that up to 70% by the year 2030. The legislature passed a resolution, LR 335, to that effect. So we want to set that goal of getting more Nebraskans that post-secondary education. And here in Nebraska, we've got about 306,000 Nebraskans that have some sort of post-secondary education, but didn't get that certification or that degree. And WGU can help with that. Part of also what we're going to be doing today is signing an agreement so that our community colleges will work closely with WGU to make that transition happen for people who want to get that degree. And it will also make those students available for our Nebraska Opportunity Grant. Our Nebraska Opportunity Grant in the school year 2021 was able to help out over 13,000 students. And about over $21 million was presented to those students in financial aid. So this is a big deal to be able to help our non-traditional adult learners who need that flexibility, who maybe already have some education, want to get that advanced degree, that next degree, to be able to pursue their career opportunities. So the first person we're going to have talk is Amanda Redler. This is the person that is our school teacher right now and is completing her BA. And so, Amanda, I'm going to have you come up and say a few words about your experience. And then we've got an alumna, Brenda Soto, who's got the MS from WGU, talking about her experience. So with that, Amanda, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. My name is Amanda Redler, and I am not your typical college student. I'm a 36-year-old wife and mom of a high schooler and 2 middle schoolers. I earned an associate's degree in 2006 and then became a mom and wife and jumped right into adult life, leaving my college times behind. Fast forward to today, where I am about to earn the bachelor's degree that I started working toward 18 years ago. Just 10 months ago, I enrolled in courses at Western Governors University. In that short time, I have earned 59 competency units by passing 23 courses, as well as 4 state praxis exams, all while working full-time hours helping my husband take care of our family. What I have accomplished at WGU would have taken me double the time and cost me more than double the tuition at a traditional college. Before learning about WGU, I looked around at colleges near me. Each one I contacted told me I could not earn my degree online. The closest college to earn a bachelor's degree in elementary education was over a 1-hour drive just one way. That was not feasible for our family. WGU has allowed me to do everything online at a low cost by providing affordable tuition as well as awarding me a scholarship. I am able to do all of this while maintaining a steady work and family life. WGU allows me to test on the material to show that I have mastered the content and that I can move on. There is no wasted time on things I already know. I recently started teaching 6th grade in my hometown as I work toward a spring graduation for my bachelor's degree. I am confident and knowledgeable in the classroom because of what WGU has taught me. This past year, I have been proud of what I have accomplished. I am showing my 3 children that you should never give up on your dreams. I am falling in love with my career. And hey, it looks like I will still be graduating college before my now junior in high school is applying for her own colleges next year. And I owe all of that to WGU.
Hello, my name is Brenda Soto, and I'm a Western Governors University graduate. I received my master's degree in healthcare leadership. My background is nursing. I've worked in the ICU, ER, and in post-acute care. When I decided I wanted to further my education and work on my master's degree, I knew I needed to choose an institution that would still allow me to work full-time and continue to be present for my family. WGU was perfect for me. WGU allowed me to work at a pace that fit into my lifestyle. I was able to work full-time, be present for my family and their activities while progressing through the curriculum. Western Governors University is competency-based. I was able to use my real-life experiences as I worked through the program. The WGU experience was unique to me because it was my experience. I was able to work on classes in the evening and on the weekends. I was supported by an amazing mentor and had the opportunity to participate in Zoom classes when I felt it was necessary to help me supplement the readings and assignments. The instructors were supportive and provided one-on-one feedback if needed. I always felt supported during my WGU journey. Graduating from WGU opened up many doors of opportunity to advance my career and build professional relationships in my chosen field. In fact, my capstone was used to create a new service line to help seniors navigate their healthcare journeys. Western Governors University propelled my career forward, and I would encourage anyone thinking about furthering their career to explore options at WGU. WGU was an affordable option and has scholarship opportunities. Enrolling in Western Governors University was a life-changing choice that I am proud to have made. Thank you.
Scott Pulsifer. I'm the president of Western Governors University. I want to thank the governor for hosting us here, and so grateful for the partnership we have with the great state of Nebraska. He mentioned also that in many ways Omaha is the birthplace of WGU, that in June of 1996, these incredible visionary governors, they recognized that they needed a complement to the universities and colleges and community colleges that they already had serving the residents of their respective states. But there were many who were not able to participate in those great systems. And that could have been because of barriers of time or distance or costs and things like that, such that they knew that this new model of leveraging technology to reach and teach individuals where they are, examples of that being like Amanda, that you could actually reach into all those rural communities by leveraging the internet to allow them to access the education they need. That you could also address barriers that included time and distance, that you didn't have to have a geographic and a classroom-based model to things. You could also address the needs of flexibility, that many of these working adults in their respective states who were striving to advance their prospects and their opportunities for the good of themselves as also their families, that they didn't have that luxury of being in a classroom at a set time, et cetera. They had to work as well. And so that really began the formation of what is WGU today. Just to give you a little bit of a sense of that scale, while here in the state of Nebraska, we're both approaching nearly 1,000 enrolled students and also 1,000 alumni among the Nebraskans. That's awesome, but also nationally, we now, WGU, is fast approaching near 300,000 alumni. That in just our short 25 years, we've been able to help individuals acquire the degrees that they need so that they can advance their careers. And so that was part of that vision. You already heard from Amanda and Brenda some of the core design considerations that went into WGU, but let me maybe just re-emphasize a couple points there because I think it supports the governor's vision here for Nebraska. First and foremost, that you have to design education that is relevant to the opportunity. We focus on ensuring that the quality and relevancy of the learning that individuals are acquiring at WGU is going to provide them the knowledge, skill, and ability they need to acquire or attain the opportunity that they're seeking. And so we focus on those degree fields that are in healthcare and in business and technology and teaching. We're also continually expanding those program offerings. The second key thing is that we want to make sure that we design and develop an experience that has the student at the center of it. That means we thought about things like competency-based education, where the mastery and proficiency of learning would matter more than the time that you spend in a seat. We focused on things like personalizing the instructional experience. You heard the reference to a mentor that Brenda mentioned, where we actually have a program mentor for every single student from the day they start to the day they complete. Those mentors have master's degrees or higher and 8+ years of experience in that field of study to provide all that augmented instruction, the mentoring, the coaching, advising that these individuals also need as they deal with disruptions in their learning. We also have that course instructor for every single individual course that you're traversing. So that unique kind of model to say, how do we leverage technology? How do we rethink the instructional model so that we can dramatically increase the probability that every single student can succeed? And the third key differentiator is the low-cost nature of WGU. While we can certainly have wonderful facilities like those here at Southeast Community College, this is amazing, what the investment that's going on here, is that we also recognize that we had to think differently about how individuals can afford the education that they need to pursue. And one of those designs was simply just having a 6-month model by which you pay a flat tuition and you can complete as many courses as you want. And man, I think you said you completed like 59 competency units in 4 months or something like that. You're like, that's an example of when you can acquire that much credit. Why? Because you're leveraging all those years of experience that you've already gained, and you're applying that to be able to accelerate at a path in a way that, in fact, our graduates at a bachelor's level take on average about 2 years and 4 months to complete their degree at a total cost that's less than $20,000. And when they're still able to acquire those jobs and opportunities that have real significant income gains, nearly $25,000 within 4 years of graduation, it's like that's a significant return on investment. So we focus on the quality and relevancy of the education. How do we actually make a personalized learning and instructional experience to increase the probability that every student succeeds, and how do we make it low cost so you can have a great return on investment? Lastly, I just want to point out some of the great aspects of this partnership is that in the state of Nebraska, over 300,000 Nebraskans have some college and no degree. This is untapped talent. These are hidden workers that all the employers in this great state need to tap into that as they continue to expand their opportunities, their growth, the investments that they need. They need to find and develop that talent wherever it exists. And so a great part of that is how do we reach into those underserved or underrepresented populations throughout the state, whether it's rural populations, military, first-generation students, or whether it's individuals of color or from low-income backgrounds as well. It's like WGU is uniquely suited to complement the system to help reach into those communities. The other thing is just to highlight that we were created by states, for states, that the ability to partner at a local level to be relevant to the economic growth and opportunities that exist here in the state of Nebraska, that's what we're doing, whether it's in teacher education or health education, technology. I noted here in Nebraska, our technology programs actually have the highest enrollment among our 4 colleges. So you have a lot of technology need that's growing here as well. And so it's really partnering also with Governor Ricketts' vision for ensuring that every community in Nebraska has access to education to help change their lives for the better and reach their full potential. Notably, Nebraska becomes our 12th state affiliate like this, our state partnership. Through that partnership, one of the key things, too, that the governor mentioned is our students being able to access that grant and aid to ensure that those who particularly find themselves in a state in need, that those needs can be met and further increase their affordability. And lastly, just to highlight the great opportunity that we have to partner with each of the 6 community colleges here in the state, whether it's Southeast or whether it's Western Community College or Metropolitan, Central, Mid-Plains. I'm missing one. Northeast. Yep, there it is. It's awesome to have that statewide articulation agreement. These partnerships have been tremendous because of the vision that we share about the value of education to be the surest path to opportunity, and that every one of these individuals at these respective community colleges, that if they choose to proceed to their bachelor's degree, they can fully transfer all of that credit that they've earned in the pursuit of their associate's degree right into the bachelor's degrees that are appropriate for them as well. This will be great for the state of Nebraska. This will be great in the partnership with each of these community colleges, and we're grateful for that. And thank you so much to each of you representing these community colleges. We truly do appreciate your partnership, and we're grateful to be a part of helping people change their lives for the better. And with that, Dr. Illich, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Scott. I do want to welcome everyone to Southeast Community College. This is a tremendous facility. We opened it in 21. If you would like to have a tour, I'll give one right after the ceremony. I would love to do that. I think you'd really enjoy it. You know, one of the things when I was listening to Amanda and Brenda, it reminded me this is really why we're here. This is about actually giving everyone access to the life-changing benefits of higher education. Here in Nebraska, the community colleges have an extremely unique role. We provide a skilled workforce for the state and to ensure everyone has access to higher education. So we offer 2-year degrees in high-demand technical fields such as health sciences, manufacturing, agriculture, information technology, and many other high-demand industry sectors. Now, one of the things when I think about what does it mean to be open access, it's actually very complex. To be open access, you have to be affordable, and we heard that from Scott. That's one of the main focuses of WGU is to absolutely be affordable. But you also, we heard a couple of different stories, to be open access, you have to offer the programs that the students are interested in. You have to offer the courses at the times that they can take them. And you do also have to make sure you have the delivery formats that work for them. One of the things about SCC, and I know all of the community colleges, 80% or higher of our students work. And we heard that from Brenda and Amanda. That means you have to offer an opportunity at blocks of time that works for them. So it is very difficult to be actually open access. Now, when we think about the community college and what we're here to do, we're not just about career and technical programs. We're also about trying to make sure we extend that open access to our four-year partners. We have many of our students wanting to pursue a four-year degree. So to be truly open access, that needs to go to beyond the two-year degree. And so if a student goes to a community college, whether it's SCC or one of the other 5 community colleges, I can assure you that will be the most affordable pathway, is to start at the community college. So open access isn't just about what happens here at SCC or the other community college. It's really about what the student is wanting to do, and it's about options. So what we're celebrating today and what we're announcing is this new agreement that's going to ensure our students have as many options as possible. So what we don't want to do is, to be open access, you don't only want to be serving one student population. You want to serve all student populations, which creates this incredible complexity. But one of the things I like to think about when I'm thinking about, our other partners, whether it's the high school, you heard the governor talk about that, that's extremely important when we're thinking about expanding our capacity to produce a skilled workforce. It's not just about making sure you have the right scale in terms of your facilities, but it's also making sure your pipeline is as wide open as possible. And so really, I think this is what this agreement is all about, is making sure there's as many options as possible for our students. We want to make sure those students that want to pursue a competency-based education, that is in fact available. So this will create a seamless articulation agreement with all of the community colleges, with Western Governors University, and of course we also work on other partners. One of the things that is absolutely true from my perspective is that none of us in higher education, we don't have ownership of learning. Learning happens everywhere, so we need to make sure we're being true collaborative partners. So with that, I want to thank everyone for coming here, and I look forward to the partnership with WGU. And I think I get to turn it back over to the governor. I don't think I've ever been able to do that before. It's pretty exciting.
All right. Well, first of all, Scott, before I know you have a little presentation here. Great job on being flexible. So a couple of times before we got started, I'm like, okay, this is the way it's going to go. I'm going to go to Scott. It's going to go to Amanda. It's going to Brenda. And then since Amanda was starring right next to me, I just went straight to Amanda. So great job on being flexible.
Hey, if you didn't tell them that, they wouldn't have even known. So. I know. We did actually want to do two things. One, first and foremost, is that also in consideration of our students at WGU being eligible for the Nebraska Opportunity Grant, WGU also, in recognition of our partnership with the state, is establishing a $200,000 scholarship for Nebraskans so that they can also address any needs that they have to make sure that their pursuit of their education is also affordable. So we're very excited about that partnership that we have with the state. And then just as a commemorative opportunity, it's like if you looked up video from this 1996 event, they actually, as part of the signing of the MOU, they actually created WGU sweatshirts back then. I think it had purple lettering. That is not our colors, are not purple. But we want to actually give it. They didn't know. So we didn't have a marketing team yet. But we want to give you that WGU sweatshirt, and also with that, awesome, just a simple commemorative paperweight with WGU in 2022 in recognition of our partnership. So very cool. Thank you so much, Governor. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. I think we're signing now.
So actually, no. What we do first is we're going to do signing here in just a moment. But I think what we'll do is, since we got everybody up here, we'll do questions and answers on this topic. And then when we do that for a few minutes, we'll go to the signing. And then if you have questions, if any of the media has questions on other topics, we'll just take that offline to the side after we get done with the signing. Sound fair? All right. And then if you do want to do that, just go see Justin. He's around here. Where's Justin? He's right. He's that guy's hand up there in the back. All right. So questions and answers on the articulation agreements that we're signing with the community colleges and with the state here for WGU. Yeah, Charlie.
You brushed over the $200,000 in scholarships. Could you give a little more detail on what you're talking about, what that is?
Yeah, the scholarships typically are like opportunity grants in the sense that they are addressing a need. We don't have any academic scholarships at WGU. They're all need-based. And typically they're addressing those who may stand in acute need. They can be any sort of in rural conditions where the affordability is a challenge, or they're in particular degree fields within our teaching programs or health programs, et cetera. So this is also specifically for Nebraskans. So it's in the state of Nebraska. You're a resident here. You're an individual that may need some gap funding to ensure that you can pursue your degree. These typically tend to be scholarships. They're awarded somewhere around $2,500 on average, but can be up to $5,000. Just for reference, one 6-month term at WGU costs about $3,750. And so the scholarships can actually cover nearly a full term, and you can complete as much as you can in that term. So thank you for that question.
You talked about competency units. Most people think of credit hours. Is there any way to kind of think about what equals what there?
Yeah. In the simplest form, a competency unit to us does kind of map to a credit, if you will. So we have courses that can be anywhere from 2 competency units to 4 competency units. In a typical kind of accredited fashion, that to complete a bachelor's degree, for example, you would have about 120 competency units in that. A master's degree can be anywhere from 30 to 60 competency units typically. But the difference here is that those units directly map to learning outcomes that are relevant to the opportunities, and so you have to demonstrate proficiency in those competency areas for you to actually complete that course and move on. You don't get a grade. So the competency-based model, as soon as you demonstrate that proficiency, then you are done and you can move on. That allows individuals like Amanda to say, in that 6-month period, if I can leverage all the experience I have or a domain that I already have mastery in, I can accelerate through that which I know and then dedicate my time and focus on those areas I need to master.
And is there an instructor that's judging whether or not the student has met that competency?
Yeah, great question. I'll try to explain it really briefly. We basically have a model that you have a course instructor who's helping you learn the specific dimensions of that course, the topical areas of that course. But we separately have an evaluation faculty team. That team is actually reviewing your performance on your assessments in that course. They are independent of the instructor. And that way, in our competency-based model, when you have 130,000 plus students across the whole state, every single one of those students has to demonstrate mastery in an independent way from the instructor they had. So that evaluation faculty are really evaluating the student's performance on the assessment, and that way you have this objectivity level that says you either have mastered or you haven't. If you haven't, you have to go back to your course instructor, work with them on a plan to develop that mastery, take the assessment again before you're actually deemed competent and can move forward. So.
And are all those faculty based in one location? Or are they
No.
spread across?
So we have about 7,500 employees across the state. The vast 60%.
Across the country.
Across the country. Yeah. Across the country, about 60% of those are faculty, and they work from anywhere. So about 90% of our employees are working remotely.
By the way, we would love to have 7,500 people come here to Nebraska to work. Just saying.
That's right. So,
And
yeah.
how are you guys, I know that you said it's a private nonprofit. Are you
Yeah.
funded through these tuition dollars?
Yeah, we are self-sustaining on tuition alone, and so we have no outside public funding or state funding, nor do we depend upon grants or any philanthropic contributions. We self-sustain on tuition alone, and like we mentioned, like average cost to complete a bachelor's at WGU is under $20,000, and so we've kept our costs really, really low. That's a key part of our differentiation. So.
You're operating, you have graduates. What problems or roadblocks is today's agreement actually going to solve or resolve?
Yeah, a lot of it is, in this case, is just, I think that actually the way Paul described it, Dr. Illich described it in particular, is that you want to make sure that residents of Nebraskans in this particular case, that they understand that there are many, many options available to them, because not any one single one of those will meet the needs of all Nebraskans. And so how do you make sure that Nebraskans understand that there are these options at WGU that you can now access high-quality programs online. You can get personalized instructions. It's highly affordable for even those for whom a community college option may not be an option, because they don't live close enough to a campus, they can't reach it, the needs they have, et cetera. The other big benefit that it affords us is that for those who are already in those associate programs or degree programs at community colleges, that in their own pathway and their opportunity within their career, that they need to advance to a bachelor's degree, they now have a very seamless way by which they have the full transferable credit right from an associate's into a bachelor's program. That we have an open access endeavor the same way that community colleges do, so we do not have selective or constraint-based enrollment at WGU, such that every graduate out of the community colleges here in Nebraska can fully articulate and progress right into a WGU program too. So that seamless transition is one of the big benefits as well.
And it will also give those students the access to the Nebraska Opportunity Grant that I was talking about before. That's the state of Nebraska's need-based grant program that is funded from lottery funding, money and state general funds, and that's that $21 million that I was talking about that benefited over 13,000 students in the 2021 school year.
Does that program cover adult learners now? I mean, or does anything have to change in order for that to happen?
So I don't know the answer about whether what adult learners would cover now. Certainly if you're a community college, it would cover you. So I guess the answer is yes, it covers adult learners now. So now it would benefit folks who are at WGU. Those folks would be eligible to apply.
And I have a question for Amanda and Brenda. Maybe you guys mentioned this, but how did you hear about Western Governor University?
So for me, I was a nurse at St. Elizabeth's, and I'd had fellow coworkers that got their master's degrees through WGU. So I knew it was an accredited school, and so word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Yep.
Yeah, that was actually the same for me. I had a friend that had started 2 months before I did in the program. And then I also found out that 2 of the teachers in our local school had earned their degrees that way as well.
If it's worthwhile, I'd like to point out one thing on this point. There are 3 very large referring sources for students who matriculate at WGU, and this also allows us to keep our costs really low because our acquisition cost for new students is really low. Our top 3 referring sources are graduates and students. 70-something% of our students and graduates refer others to WGU. The second largest partnership are actually community colleges, and the third are employers. And so those 3 affiliations, if you will, with our graduate and students, with our community college partners, and with employers, they know how effective WGU has been for their employees, for their friends, their family members, and for their own students. And so over 70% of our students are referred to WGU through those sources, which allows, again, us to keep our costs really low.
Any other questions on this? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and do the signing. So, Scott, is it you and me first?
I think so.
All right.
So thank you.
Yeah, we'll give everybody a chance to get a nice picture. All right. Got it, Andrew?
Yeah. I'm live streaming, sir.
Oh, you like it. All right, ready? All right, very good. Hold them up so we can see them. All right, now you clap, yeah. All right, now we've got the community college, correct? I will out Scott will stay. Yeah, why don't all of the folks from community college come on up?
Kind of cycle through.
Perfect. okay with clapping this time? Folks, we'll keep working with you. Make sure you get it right.